Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry if the screen is blurry, but I cannot find my glass cleaning stuff anywhere, okay? And it's been quite a day, you know. Let's start with I took off today, right? Because I had an 85-hour work week last week. Like it was insane, all right? It was nuts, all right? I never want to live through that kind of crap ever again. So I take today off, and what happens? Well, right in the middle of my workout routine, the maintenance guy shows up, right? Slight annoyance, whatever, you let him in. The next thing you know, about 5 minutes later, he leaves, says, I'll be right back. 10 minutes, folks. 10 minutes. Then he comes in with his freaking power drills, scares the crap out of my cat, and yeah, little angry. As autistics, we don't like our routines being interrupted, folks, at all, at all. And yeah, we'll just stop there, all right? We'll just stop there. Guess I'm gonna rant about the small things because, yes, devastated to learn about Shane McGowan's death. Kind of hit me like a wrecking ball. And I don't want to say I don't get affected by those few celebrities I do actually follow, at least in regards to their work, but yeah. I'm not a drinking girl these days. So sorry it isn't whiskey, Shane, but Sprite will have to do. All right, we are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but first, the usual disclaimers. If you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non for profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed over 900 ABA professionals in regards of the JRC's so called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit. They did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused, so you know the drill. Please read the article, share it on all your social media. Right. We also have linked in there NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding in case the JRC actually sees through with their threat. Okay, folks, trigger warning. When we talk of places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center and Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities or disabled people, as it were, and mental health issues being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please go ahead and utilize those headphones. Trigger warning 2. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is advised, all right? All right. Excuse me. Allergies. By the way, fall allergies has made my week on the phones fun. I love just randomly going into coughing fits when I've already done back to back calls and I've already just dealt with like 30 people. My colleague suggests that the FDA's understanding of the term legal legally marketed devices in 396 would eviscerate the provision's basic object. Okay, this is where people seem to not understand. You're reading things into what you think the FDA thinks instead of doing this thing, I don't know, where you reach out to the FDA and ask them to clarify their position. See, this is what happens when you assume things and don't do anything to clear up what might be an incorrect assumption. Okay? It's this little thing, called, fact checking. No, we can't have that, Tiff, any more than we can have proper grammar or people to utilize spell check. Sorry. That's another tangent I will go off on one day, I'm sure. All agree aims centrally to protect a physician's ability to administer devices for off-label uses for beyond for which the FDA approval has been already obtained. And that, folks, is where they seem to not understand what in actuality is going on. Because the FDA has not at any point in time approved the current GEDs being used at the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center for any kind of use, off label or otherwise. This is what seems to be one of the biggest major disconnects as I read this freaking snorefest here, okay? This is the point that everyone continues to seem to miss. The problem isn't them trying to tailor anything. It is the weird assumption, which one assumes can only come from those who don't properly do their homework, that this device was approved, but for specific uses. That is not the case. The case is the current device in use at that facility was never approved for any sort of use of any kind. What it seems they're trying to make the argument be is that you can't approve a device and then ban it for particular uses. Fair enough. However, that's not what's happening here. You have a device that has not been approved for any kind of use, medical or otherwise, that was being banned outright from any form of use. So explain to me like I'm 5, how is that tailoring? Because I'm getting tired of reading the same massively incorrect assumptions. I really am, Mother of God. But in explaining its interpretation of 396 in the rule itself, the FDA specifically recognized, as it had for decades, that the provision makes clear that a doctor may prescribe a approved device for a different use different from those which it has approved. What they made clear, crystal clear, one would even think idiot proof clear, is that for the devices that are in use now amongst the mass public in regards to medicine can be approved and prescribed by doctors. That was made very crystal clear. What was also made very crystal clear is that the device at use at the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center from the GED 2, the GED 3, the GED 3A, and the GED 4, that not a single one of these devices, the modified forms of the original that they did approve, has not been approved by the FDA at all. for any use. They then also make clear that a doctor is allowed for those devices that have actually been approved for their patients to be able to use. Like, it doesn't get more clear than that. Okay? It doesn't get more clear than that. Far from undercutting 396 protection of the physician's ability to prescribe off-label uses, then the rules reading of 396 reaffirms that very protection. It seems to me you're having an argument that shouldn't be had, because what you think is going on is actually not what's going on at all. You're inferring things on the FDA and making assumptions about what the FDA has done instead of doing your due diligence, reaching out and asking the FDA to clarify and clear up some things for you, and then slapping down this decision with clearly no real concept of what the ban from 2020 actually was, what it spoke about, what the reasonings were, and the fact that the device in question was not actually a legal marketed device, did not have approval from the FDA to do literally anything. You want to talk about not talking about the elephant in the room? That's like the elephant trumpeting, 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 and people turning away and making comment about a noise made by a bee flying in the left-hand corner on the room that's down the hall. Maybe not the best analogy, but what can I say? My routine was disturbed today. I'm not at 100%. So all this long-windedness basically seems as a long word salad miscorrect assumption that the device in question had prior approval from the FDA, and then the FDA banned it for particular use. That is an incorrect assumption, DC Circuit Court. Because the current device in question, we're not talking about the first iteration of the GED that they did actually approve here. We're talking about as it exists now in its since then modified form, has not been approved for any kind of use at all. You see what I'm saying here, right? That is essentially bringing a chainsaw to a basically bringing a chainsaw to a cosmetic surgery. And then I'll just leave it there, all right? We're going to close out on that. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So folks, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this afternoon. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I'll see you in a few seconds.